Counsel BB1 would be Speaker 1 and my co-counsel BB2 would be Speaker 2. This counsel seeks permission to address you as your lordship. Much
Okay.
obliged. Much obliged. The counsel seeks permission to move on to the jurisdiction of the
I
case,
think
your
you
lordship.
get ahead of your permission, then just continue here.
Okay, much obliged, your lordship. Your lordship, being aggrieved and dissatisfied with the judgments and order passed by the learned sessions judge as well as the learned chief metropolitan magistrate,
What have you
the
filed?
petitioner,
What have you filed?
your lordship, we have filed a revision petition under
Okay.
section 397. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So the petitioner begs to approach before this honorable court under section 397 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, challenging the correctness, legality, and propriety of the aforesaid judgment, whereby the learned sessions judge had confirmed the conviction order passed by the learned chief metropolitan magistrate and convicted the petitioner under section 363 of the Indian Penal Code. Your Lordship, I would also like to bring to your notice that the petitioner has also moved an application for bail before the City Civil and Sessions Court, Mumbai, under Section 439 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. If your Lordship is satisfied, the counsel seeks permission to move on.
Move on.
Much obliged. Your Lordship, our submissions would be made in the following sequence. I would start off by presenting the facts of the case with permission of your Lordship. After this, I would be highlighting the important parts of Section 361 of the Indian Penal Code, which defines kidnapping. Then, I would be presenting my arguments regarding our first ground.
Don't talk about what you're going to do, just do it.
Right. Much obliged, Your Lordship. This counsel seeks permission to move on to the facts of the case.
If you are finished with your permissions and your roadmaps and what you are going to do and how you are going to do it, please do whatever you are going to do.
Yes, Your Lordship. So I'll be moving to the facts of the case. I'm directing your attention to page 8 of the compendium. If the coordinator could kindly share
Don't
page
worry,
8.
you just continue.
Okay. Much obliged. Your Lordship, the facts of the case are that Saddam Hussein.
You just keep the screen as it is. Atreya, stop screen share, please. Yeah.
The facts of the case are that the petitioner was a 25-year-old man who resided in a house next to that of Mr. Manoj Desai, the complainant.
Keep the facts,
Mr.
please.
Desai had
only go to the operative parts of the facts which you feel will support your contentions and then argue.
Yes, Your Lordship, I'm coming to those facts. Much obliged. So, a few months before 30th June 2019, Savita became friendly with the petitioner. Gradually, they developed a close relationship. And on 14th February 2019, the petitioner put up a proposal for marriage before Savita. Then on 30th June 2019, Savita informed Kasturi of her intentions of marrying Mr. Balchandra on being questioned by Kasturi, which were then communicated by Kasturi to their father. Now, within few minutes, Mr. Desai forcefully took Savita to Ranjangaon and left her at the house of Mr. Nandakumar, a distant relative. Notably, Savita did feel awkward to reside at the residence of a distant relative whom she had met only during family functions. Now, on 4th July 2019, Savita left the house of Mr. Nandakumar. She telephoned the petitioner from a PCO asking him to meet her at a certain road in the vicinity. When the petitioner arrived, she got into his car voluntarily, and then they straight went to Siddhivinayak Mandir and got married there. Then they went to Rainwoods Motel and stayed there. After that, they went to Pune.
The facts and only give the relevant part of the fact with which you have a contention. So say one part and give your contention. Don't go through the facts all over again, please. You are just wasting the time which you have got for yourself.
I apologize, Your Lordship. I'll be moving to the next part then. Much obliged. Your Lordship, I'll be defining kidnapping now. Kidnapping from lawful guardianship has been defined in Section 361 of the Indian Penal Code. The said section has 4 essential elements. First, taking or enticing away of a minor or a person of unsound mind. Second,
I am aware of
minor.
the question. Please go ahead with your contentions.
Okay, Your Lordship. Now, coming to the first ingredient, I would like to point out the distinction between taking and enticing. I would be taking up this ground of taking and
Why do you
enticing.
want to point out the distinction between taking and enticing? I fail to understand this.
Your
It is
Lordship, because
taking or enticing. Even if there is no distinction, if one of the two is satisfied, then that is satisfied. So why do you want to point out the distinction?
Your Lordship, that is because my first ground that I'm raising is whether the acts of the petitioner amount to taking or enticing or not.
So what is to be served by pointing out to me the difference between taking and enticing? It is either or.
Because,
One of the two is enough to constitute the offense.
but I'm trying to say that he has not done that, and which is how I'll
So
be
say that.
continuing. That's
You are
okay.
just talking about what you want to say and you're not saying it.
I'll move on to that, Your Lordship. I apologize. In the present case, Savita left the house of her relative, and then she was the one who telephoned Mr. Balchandra from a PCO. These facts,
According to the law of kidnapping from lawful guardianship, how does it make a difference whether Savita left or not? Is
Your
Savita
Lordship, yes,
presumed to have enough maturity of understanding to take such decisions? What is the genesis of the offense of kidnapping from lawful guardianship?
Your Lordship, firstly, she was at the verge of attaining majority, and she was not a girl from a rural area. She did not hail from a rural area. Her maturity in that,
One minute. Where is this rural and urban coming in from?
because it is stated in the fact that she lived in Mumbai. She was studying
No, what
in a junior
difference does
college.
that make?
Your Lordship, because it makes a difference, because the upbringing in that areas might be different from the upbringing in the urban
What is
area.
the difference in upbringing? Please tell me. Interesting.
Your Lordship, it might happen that a person hailing from a rural area might
People in
be.
Mumbai are fast and promiscuous, you want to say?
No, Your Lordship, all I'm trying to say is that she has a better understanding of the world, and she's
Are you
exposed to a
aware
lot of
that
things.
incidences of sexual offences and elopement are more in rural areas than in urban areas?
Your Lordship, but that is because the girls there are not aware of what opportunities that they
What is
have
the basis for this argument? Please tell me. What statistics do you have?
Your Lordship, I am
Based
just
on your
referring.
personal experience and judgment?
No, Your Lordship, I
Then
am just.
please do not offer baseless arguments. What is the basis of your argument?
I apologize, Your Lordship.
Go ahead.
So the fact leaves no doubt there that she was the fact leaves no doubt that she was neither enticed nor taken by the petitioner, that is Mr. Balchandra. Therefore, and she had chosen herself to accompany Mr. Balchandra. Mr. Balchandra did not ask her, or he did not go to the petitioner. He did not go to the relative's house to persuade her and to bring her with him.
He was
All
just
she,
conveniently placed at the right time in the right place. He did
no,
not
Your
go.
Lordship.
His car drove itself to that place and it was parked there without the knowledge that she's going to come there. And when she came, the door automatically opened.
No, Your Lordship, that is not what I'm saying. She was the one who called Mr. Balchandra from the PCO.
Again, I come to
So
my
that
point.
is,
She's supposed to have the required maturity to take these decisions.
I believe so. Yes, Your Lordship.
She is.
Yes, Your Lordship.
So you mean to say that because she took an initiative, it absolves your, the accused of the responsibility of having committed the offense?
Your Lordship, I am trying to establish that it was her idea.
Are you
And
aware of the legal maxim actus non facitrium nisi mensit rea?
I cannot recall it at the moment, but I've heard it.
Okay. Mens rea?
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay. So Is mens rea required for revealing an offense under section 361?
Yes, it is required. I think for any criminal offense, mens rea plays an important role. Mens rea and actus reus.
Okay, continue please.
Okay. Hence, there is no suggestion that Savita, who it may be pointed out was at the verge of attaining majority, was driven by the petitioner to do what she did. In this regard, I would place reliance on Varadarajan versus State of Madras. This judgment is a landmark judgment on the subject of kidnapping, and it still holds good. Now, the remote conversations between Savita and Mr. Balchandra cannot be relied upon by the state. Even those instances do not reveal that he ever intended to take or entice her. Moreover, a person can't be held guilty of the offense of kidnapping even if he merely plays a part which facilitated the fulfillment of the intention of the girl to leave her guardian's house. Thus, the part played by Mr. Balchandra falls short of inducement and therefore does neither amount to taking nor enticing as per section 361 of the Indian Penal Code.
Enticing, I can agree. Why do you say it doesn't amount to taking?
Your Lordship, because firstly, he never intended on doing such an action.
That is more... Why do you say it does not amount to taking?
Because he never used any... Taking is usually related with force or...
Who said that?
This is my perception, Your Lordship.
Taking is related to force.
Usually.
Who said that?
This is
taking is taking. Taking is taking. Simply taking.
Okay. All right.
So you agree he has taken?
No, I do not. Your Lordship, I do not.
Just now you said okay.
I said that taking, I said what you said might be...
I say your client is guilty.
Your Lordship, I couldn't hear you, Your Lordship, I'm sorry.
I said your client is guilty. So if you are going to agree with everything I say, then let's close the matter, na?
No, I'm not...
Application.
No, Your Lordship, I'm not saying that he is guilty of taking. In fact, he wasn't even aware of Savita's whereabouts. She was the one who called her. It is clearly not taking. If Savita would not have even informed her as to where she was, he clearly would not...
Go ahead.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. So, in our case, it has clearly been established that Savita accompanied Mr. Balchandra of her own accord. Now, moving forward, the law did not lay any duty on Mr. Balchandra to take Savita back to her father's house.
That is okay. That is okay. But does that mean if he doesn't take her back, he can take her wherever he wants to?
Your Lordship, but it was with her will. If she did not wish to be with the petitioner...
But the whole point of section 361 is that her will does not matter.
Your Lordship, but it is for the protection of the minor. It is for the protection of the minor. So the minor wants to be with the petitioner. He did not...
It is for the protection of the minor.
Your Lordship, sorry for the interruption, but Speaker 1 has consumed her given time.
Okay, thank you. I'll allow her some more time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Lordship.
So you are arguing against yourself?
Your Lordship, I couldn't hear what you said. I apologize.
What did you just say? That you admit
I said,
that her will does not matter?
No, Your Lordship, I said that the section is for the protection of the minor. And she wanted to be with the...
Exactly. That is why you are guilty.
No, not just the
physical... Her will does not matter.
Your Lordship, but it is not just her physical protection, but it is also what she wants.
Exactly what we are going to protect her physically, mentally, in every which way. And so we are going to convict him. We are going to confirm the conviction.
No, but what I'm trying to establish, Your Lordship, is that she wanted to be with the petitioner, and that was her will. Plus, the petitioner does
just
not
now
have
you
any
said that you
criminal
have to
records
protect her,
also,
no?
Your Lordship.
Just now you said that it is our duty to protect her.
Yes,
What
Your
better way
Lordship,
to protect her than send your client to jail?
but Your Lordship,
That is the
she would be
ultimate
happy with the
protection.
petitioner. They had already begun their married life. They were happy. The petitioner does not have any
Okay.
criminal records.
Thank you. Can I have the next participant, please? Thank you so much.
Much obliged.
May it please this honorable court, this is counsel BB2 on behalf of the petitioner in the case of Sadashiv Balchandra versus State of Maharashtra. This counsel would seek permission to move to an important ground whether Savita abandoned her guardianship and whether the consent of guardian was missing.
Okay.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. A twofold contention is, however, raised that in the first place, Savita had abandoned the guardianship of her father, and in the second place, that the appellant in doing what he did not in fact take away Savita out of the keeping of a lawful guardian.
So is the minor allowed to abandon the guardianship?
No, Your Honor. No,
Then?
Your Lordship.
So you agree?
No, I would state that on the morning of July 1st, she herself telephoned to the appellant to meet her in his car at a certain place, went up to that place, and finding him waiting in the car, got into the car of her own accord. No doubt she says that she did not tell the appellant
How
where
did
to
the
go.
car get there? That is the mystery I am trying to solve since last.
Okay, so
She went to the car and got into the car of her own accord, but did the car magically appear there?
So that's what I stated earlier, Your Lordship, that she herself telephoned to the appellant, that is Mr. Balchandra, to come at a certain.
Okay. And he willingly obliged.
Yes, Your Lordship.
So
I would state that the appellant
committing a crime is allowed.
No. I would state that the appellant, by complying with her wishes, can by no stretch of imagination be said to have taken her out of the keeping of a lawful guardian.
Okay, given a, let's take a hypothetical example. Okay, I don't want to live. Yeah, life is too much, lockdown and all that stuff. My wife is away from me since last 4 months. I no longer want to live. So I tell you to take a knife and slit my throat. So you slit my throat because I asked you to know. How can that be murder?
But Savita called Mr. Balchandra. That was not.
I also asked you to slit my throat.
That was not of a criminal intention, Your Lordship.
No, slitting my throat is not criminal intention.
No,
do you mean to say you would willingly take an opportunity to slit my throat?
No, I meant that calling Mr. Balchandra, which Savita did herself, that was not of a criminal intention. She just called him.
Kidnapping from lawful guardianship is a crime.
But kidnapping from lawful guardianship did not happen in this case.
Pardon?
Kidnapping from lawful guardianship did not happen in this case. That is what we are trying to establish here, Your Lordship.
What did happen? Please tell me. Enlighten me.
I would say that in these circumstances, we find nothing from which an inference could be drawn that the appellant is guilty of taking away Savita out of keeping of a father.
I fail to understand this argument. Why is he not guilty? He has taken her away.
But she was not a child of tender years who was unable to think for herself. But she was.
What is tender years? Can you define?
There is no definition for tender years, but she was mature enough to understand what good and what bad is for her.
What is the age limit required for section 361?
Sir, for female it is 18 and for male it is.
What is her age?
She was on the verge of attaining majority. She was few months less than 18.
What is her age?
She was less than 18 years. Few months less than 18.
So that is the only requirement of the section.
Yes, Your Lordship, but she was not of tender age.
She was interpretation.
She was not uneducated. That she would not happen. She would not know what is happening.
What do you mean by uneducated? What difference does it make whether whether a person is educated or not educated? Do you mean to say that uneducated people can be easily kidnapped?
No, I'm not trying to establish anything like that, Your Lordship. I'm just stating that she is a senior college girl who has lived her life in a good modern city. British. And I would also,
I think you got interrupted. Has lived life in a good model city. After that, what did you say?
I said that she was far more capable of thinking for herself and acting on her.
Why people in rural areas are not capable of thinking them
I
for
did
themselves?
not mention about rural
So
area. I
then,
just
where does it matter whether she was from a
because the kind of exposure people get over here is
please
different.
enlighten me to as to what is the kind of exposure that you get over here.
The mentality of people over here may be a better.
Please enlighten me on that.
I think that she was quite mature and she had a good upbringing by her parents, and
How do you come to this conclusion?
that she lived in a good city and she was a senior college student, so she was capable of knowing her acts.
So let us, amend the Indian Penal Code to say that the offence of kidnapping from lawful guardianship is revealed, provided that the victim is well below age of 18 and is not from a senior college and does not belong to a city. Do you think Macaulay and his team wanted this in the Indian Penal Code?
I accept your lordship's point, but I would put that it would not be legitimate to infer that the accused is guilty of taking of the minor merely because she has actually left her guardians or her house where the guardian had kept her, joined the accused, and the accused helped her in design not to return to her guardian's house. No doubt the part played by the accused could be regarded as facilitating the
Has he
fulfillment of the
taken her out
intention.
of the keeping?
No, your lordship.
No, I'm not
He
talking about taking. I'm taking out of the keeping.
Yes, no, that was not established because it was not
So
initiated.
tomorrow, suppose I take the accused has taken the victim away from the college where she's studying, or from the railway station, or for that matter from the marketplace. So that is not a taking out of the keeping.
So, yeah, but the initiation was done by Savita and not by Mr. Balchandra.
How do you say that you proposed marriage
But
on the very
on 1st
fertile day
July,
of 14th of February?
on the morning of July 1st, she herself called him.
Yeah, but
He did
before
not
that,
call him, but she called him.
we have goaded, cajoled, and coaxed, no?
So that part in our opinion falls short of an inducement to minor to slip out of the keeping of
So
a lawful guardian.
what according to you can be a bigger inducement than telling a young girl that I'm going to marry you and keep you happily ever after?
Sir, I would here take support of the case of Shaheen Parveen versus State of UP, and I would cite that a girl who has attained the age of discretion and was on the verge of attaining majority is capable of knowing what is good and what is bad, particularly when the case of inducement. The victim herself is that it was on her initiative and on her account of her voluntary act that she had gone with the boy and got married. Here, the desire of the girl is required to be seen. Also, I would respectfully adopt the opinion of Madras High Court in Ramaswamy Udayar versus Raju Udayar, where the learned judge has observed that it is not open to minor in law to abandon her guardian. Therefore, when the minor leaves the guardian of her own accord and comes into the custody of the accused person, it is not necessary that the latter should have shown to be committed an overt act before he could be convicted under the similar section. The learned
Okay.
judge here.
Yeah, I understand the ratio in that judgment. Are you aware of the maximum of actus non facietrium nisi mensit rea?
Your Lordship, I am not quite aware.
Okay, so what about the mens rea in this case?
I do not think that the accused had mens rea, that is the guilty mind here in case, because
But is mens rea necessary?
yes, mens rea is necessary.
Okay.
Okay,
Continue.
so I would state,
What do you have to say? Is your revision application tenable?
sorry,
Can the revision application be entertained by this court?
yes, Your Lordship.
Under what provision?
Under section 29 CRPC, I think the revision petition under section 397 CRPC can be entertained.
So what are the requirements of 397?
Of section 397.
Yeah.
Um, the High Court may call for the examine the record of the proceeding of the any inferior court, and here in this case we have the Metropolitan Magistrate, which is also where the Chief Metropolitan Magistrate is also a part, who may grant
Were there
punishment.
any procedural flaws? Was there any mistake by the lower court in interpreting the sections
Yes,
or
in my
applying
further
the
contentions, I would like to move to the initiation of criminal proceeding, which is an abuse of law. Here, I would cite Shaheen Parveen versus State of Uttar Pradesh.
what was the abuse of law? Please tell me.
Yes, at the time of considering whether on admitting the allegations made in the FIR, offense has been committed or not, the ingredients of the offense are required to be considered. Also, an impugned criminal proceeding has been initiated because father of the victim has not accepted the marriage of a daughter with the petitioner. In the view of the opposite facts and circumstances, the instant proceedings were initiated in abuse of process of the court and process of law. A personal grudge against marriage of choice of the daughter is being settled by virtue of
Okay. Any
initiating.
other? Atreya, is she out of time?
No, sir. She has 2 minutes more.
Okay. Oh, do you have any other contentions other than this?
Okay, you may grant us the permission, I would put forth the prayer.
You have 2 minutes more.
Okay, so I would like to also state that if a minor of her own abandons the guardianship of her parents and joins the boy without any role having
See,
been
what you are
played.
saying is against the whole, whole reasoning of section 361. So if a minor abandons, the consent of the minor is immaterial for this very same reason what you all are arguing. What is the genesis of the offense of kidnapping from lawful guardianship?
Okay, so in the case of Rajapan versus State of Kerala and Chatu versus Govindan Kuti, the learned judge have held that the expression taking out of the keeping of the lawful guardian must signify some act done by the accused, which may be regarded as the proximate cause of the person going out of the keeping of the guardian. And in other words, for which the person would not have gone out of the keeping of the guardian. Here, the reliance is placed on Mustaq Ahmad J in Noora versus Rex, which is at where minor girl voluntarily leaves the roof of her garden and when out of his house comes across another person who treats her with kindness or at least without employing any force, cannot be held guilty under section 361
Okay.
of the IPC.
Okay, got that. Please go ahead with your prayers.
In light of the issues raised, arguments advanced, and authorities cited, the petitioner humbly prays that this honorable court will be pleased to admit and allow the present application and also to call for the record and proceeding for the court of the learned chief metropolitan magistrate as well as the chief learned sessions judge to peruse and examine the same. After hearing the parties be pleased to quash and set aside the impugned judgment and order passed by both the court below, and also would be pleased to remand back the matter in interest of justice and pass such other and further orders as the nature and circumstances of the case may require. And for such act of kindness and justice, the petitioner, as in duty bound, shall forever pray.
Okay,
Thank you, Your Lordship.
thank you. Just give me a moment, Atreya.
Pardon me, sir.
Just give me a moment, I said,
Yes,
before
sir.
the.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, we can proceed. We can proceed, Atreya.
Respondent, speaker one.
Yes.
Yeah.
May it please the Honorable Court, this is speaker F1 from team FF1 from team FF on behalf of respondent in the case of Mr. Sadashiv Balchandra versus State of Maharashtra. The council seeks permission to address the bench as your lordship.
Okay.
Now, I would proceed to the issues. The main issue, the first issue I would like to address is uh, if
What if I would have not given you permission to address me as your lordship?
your
Say
lordship,
I ask you to address me as the clown.
no, I wouldn't. Council wouldn't.
So what is the point of asking me to address me as your lordship? Continue, please.
Yes. The two major issues, the first issue I'm dealing with is whether the order passed by the lower court is erroneous in law. So no, the order passed by the lower court is not erroneous in law because it is passed by keeping in mind all the evidences, facts, and facts submitted by both the parties. And so Supreme High Court should dismiss this revision petition. Moving to the next issue, whether Mr. Sadashiv is liable under Section 363 of IPC 1860. So in this, first I will be dealing with the issue whether the victim is minor when this incident happened. So according to the facts and decision given by the lower courts, it is clear that the victim was minor when the incident happened.
Barely. Hardly a few days away. So can we not credit her with having enough maturity of knowing?
Sir, but the statute says above 18. Even if she is 17 years and 360 days, but she's not 18, na. So the statute says below 18. So we should stick to the statute. It should be interpreted literally.
So you mean to say that the Supreme Court judges in Varadarajan's case were
Sir, in
grossly
Varadarajan,
mistaken?
yes, my lordship, in Varadarajan's case, the facts are different. It is nowhere mentioned in the facts that there was a proposal for marriage. It is just mentioned that
No. Now, don't confuse two issues. In Varadarajan's case, the Supreme Court judge categorically stated that the fact that she was of a borderline age has to be considered
Sir, but
as some sort of extenuating circumstances. Correct?
Yes, but
So you
lordship,
just said that 17 years and 364 days also.
360, yeah, because she is not 18. Statutes in criminal law should be interpreted literally and not liberally. So
I understand that, but then case laws carry weight or no?
they do,
So
but in Varadarajan's case, the facts were different. She was never persuaded. The Varadarajan never persuaded the prosecutrix. It was the prosecutrix who had the intention.
And in this case?
In this case, it is clearly mentioned in the fact that she was persuaded.
But at many months before the incidents could take place. So is there a causal relationship?
Sorry.
Is there a causal relationship in him taking and him, putting ideas in her mind?
Yes.
So he has done so on the 14th of February.
Sir, but
the incident took place so many months later.
Your lordship, but it was a marriage proposal. It can't get expired. It doesn't have any expiry date, na. So it won't get expired anytime.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes. So moving ahead, as Section 361 states, the 18 years of female, if taken away or enticed, it's kidnapping. So the literal interpretation of the statute says that says that if the girl is below 18, it is kidnapping. A literal rule means that a judge has to consider what the statute structure says literally, because the intention of the legislature to create this statute should be the first priority. So this was created to secure the rights of guardians. moving ahead, issue number 2, was she under the
What do you mean
guardianship?
secure the rights of the guardians?
Protect the rights of the guardians.
How?
So if the section states that, say, 361 states that if any if whoever entices or takes away any minor, the 16 years of age for male, 18 for female, or any a person of unsound mind without the consent of the guardian. So here it's clearly mentioned in the section that
So,
it is.
so if it says without the consent of the guardian, you're protecting the rights of the guardian?
Yes, we are protecting the rights of the guardian.
In what way?
Like if a girl is taken away from the guardianship, so it would cause kidnapping. So if for this protection of the guardian, the act is there, like the section is there.
Okay, you have completely managed to confuse me. You can go ahead, please.
Okay. So next issue, that is, was she under the guardianship? Was the victim under the guardianship and was she taken away without the consent of the guardian? So lawful guardianship here.
That is an established fact. She is taken away without the consent of the guardian. Why are you harping upon that?
Was she under the guardianship?
See, it is an admitted position that she has abandoned her lawful guardian's home and come to the highway and then called him. This poor fellow, he only obliged. You must be aware that when a woman says man has to listen, he has no choice in the matter.
Your lordship, she
You
never abandoned the guardianship.
Of course she did. She left the home. She came to the highway. She called him. He merely obliged.
Guardianship cannot be abandoned unless the guardians themselves abandon it, or the minor permanently abandons the guardianship.
Just now you quoted in Varadarajan's case that was the matter, and now again you are arguing. You cannot have the cake and eat it too.
I never quoted this. I just quoted that it was consent, and it was the proposal for marriage was never made, and it in that case it was not persuasion. In our case, it is persuasion. So we can't rely on the judgment of Varadarajan.
Any other judgment you would like to rely upon?
Yes. State of Haryana versus Rajaram. In this, these facts are more similar to our judgment, like our case. Here there was persuasion.
Is this a Supreme Court judgment?
Yes.
Where is it in your?
Yeah.
What page number?
Page 19.
Okay. Lordship, I'll share the compendium on the screen.
No, I have the compendium. Atre, when I want you to do something, I tell you to do it.
Okay.
Page 19 of the compendium. Yeah. So highlighted part, the consent of the guard alone is taken into consideration. That is the consent of minor is immaterial. This section is under strict liability.
What do you have to say on Thakurilal Vadgama's case?
Thakurlal Vadgama's, in this as well, there was persuasion. So we can rely on this judgment as well. Because in this judgment also, the victim was given justice. Yeah. So also,
victim was giving justice, but what is the essence of that judgment?
Yeah. So 1 minute. 1 minute. Yeah. In this case, page 32, highlighted part of compendium. Okay. From this judgment, we can conclude that the factory owner had persuaded the minor. It was in persuasion she left the house. And then again it is mentioned that in the garage that was behind in the room which was behind the garage, he I mean the accused uh, asked the victim to write some letters, which also clearly shows the persuasion. And on his persuasion, the victim wrote the letters, and which were later uh, found by police when uh, they were searching the victim.
What do you have to say regarding the revision application?
So
Petition
the
for revision.
lower courts had given the judgment. Lower court's judgment
So
is
it can be allowed, right? It can be allowed.
no, yeah, but High Court should dismiss this revision petition because lower
So when
court's
were you
judgment.
planning on saying that?
Sir, I say, Your Lordship, I mentioned this in my first issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So moving ahead, can she abandon the guardianship? The victim, can she abandon the guardianship, or was she under the guardianship of her parents?
Tell me one simple thing. Why do you want to interfere in these people's lives? The girl is of a borderline age, hardly 3 days, few days, less than 18. Yeah. They are happily married.
But then
For all
what?
you know, you might have several tiny little Balchandras roaming around in their angans in the future years to come. And he might.
But sir, this statute is created to reserve the rights of guardian. That's what I mentioned earlier. So then what about the rights of guardian? They are her parents, victim's parents, so they should have the right. Even they had.
Oh, Atre, how much time does she have? She's going to make me forget the law.
So she's completed 12 minutes and she just has 1 minute more.
Okay, can we have the next participant before I completely forget what the law is about?
Yes, sir. Speaker FF2.
May it please this honorable court, this is Speaker 2 of Team FF. Continuing the issue stated by my co-counsel, I would like to go ahead with the main issue 2 and sub-issue C, where the victim was enticed by the accused to leave her guardianship. Now, to prove kidnapping as an essential element, it is first that we should prove that either the minor is taken away or is enticed. Now, though taken away means to cause to go to, it can also be without the use of force. Now, taken away did not need to constitute by a single act. Instead, a whole series.
But this analogy, to what extent you will stretch it? Taken away,
Yeah.
of course, admitted, okay, taken away, enticed, either or. But here, this poor fellow, he has no role to play in her abandoning her lawful guardians.
You know, in this case, Balachandra has a main role to play as we refer to para 5. He first we see the facts. The victim first she denied the marriage when Balchandra asked. Then after further persuasion, she said yes. So being a minor,
Don't give me past history. Let's just come to the incidents. Okay. So on the day of the incidents, he is nowhere close to her. He has no communication with her. The girl herself takes the decision. She is at some place far away from her, parents. Yeah, in the keeping of some relative's house. From there, she of her own accord abandons house, comes to another place, calls him, and he, poor fellow, merely obliges. How do you say this amounts to taking?
you know, not only the marriage proposal, but when we further read the case,
You come back to marriage proposal. I'm not on the marriage proposal.
yes, Rana. Now, he also made many promises to the victim, like to be soon appointed a respectable position, to have a stable source of income, to take her to the movies from his first pay. So these also contribute to the further purpose of enticement. Now, the mental attitude of the minor is relevant and entices, as enticing depends upon the age of the minor. A minor will get easily influenced. Suppose if we tell a child to do his homework and we present him chocolates, the child is definitely going to do his homework. And here there are just no chocolates. Instead, there are persuasion and promises, and which were enough to influence a minor. And influence has caused the victim to come out of the guardianship and go with the accused.
Okay.
And in this regard, I would like to submit Supreme Court judgment Takolal D. Vardama, page 32 of the compendium. And this judgment says that the accused, that is appellant, has influenced the minor.
I am aware of the facts. Can you sum up this Thakurlal Vadgama case, the ratio of this case, in a couple of lines? What is the
Yes,
crux
Your
of
Honor.
this judgment?
The Supreme Court said that the mere circumstances of his act was not the immediate cause of a leaving of a parental home, would constitute no valid defense, and would not absolve him from the offense of kidnapping. As Your Honor, the Lordship stated, the marriage proposal was four months ago. So when we rely on this case, the Supreme Court said that the mere circumstance that his act was not the immediate cause of her leaving the custody would constitute no valid defense, and hence he would be liable under the offense of kidnapping. And in our case, out of the act done by her parents, it was under due inducement and allurement given by the accused that she telephoned the accused, and appellant having to come to know about the minor's state of
But
mind
having,
took
but
this child.
having said that, see, the guy has the noblest of intention. You know, he has actually married her. He plans to keep her as his lawfully wedded wife for the next 7 births to come.
You know, in this, when the victim
Why
was
do we
talking,
interfere with such noble intentions?
you know, the noble intentions which we are talking about are nowhere to be seen, as he was roaming with the victim for 15 days. And that if the noble intentions would have been the cause, they could have stayed to some stable place. The roaming just merely admitted to the fact that they were running away from the police, and the accused knew what he did. He knew the state of law, and the accused cannot take the defense of that he was not
I
knowing
don't
that.
think he had any evil intention in doing all this.
The evil intention would come up fairly enough. It would have been a section of 366, but in 363 itself, the evil intention is taking a minor out of the lawful guardianship, which is fulfilled here.
No, I didn't get you. Come again in 363.
In 363, the evil crux of that is when you take a minor out of the lawful guardian, the act is said to be committed.
So you mean to say evil intention is not required?
Evil intention is required
Is required.
to commit the offense. And
So
here,
in the offense
accused,
of kidnapping from lawful guardianship, evil intention is required, right?
the mens rea is not required to
So
commit
mens
under
rea is
section.
not required, but evil intention is required.
You know, the evil intention I was referring was with the context that your lordship stated right away. Like he didn't have any evil intention, and he was in love with her or something. So the mens rea in 361 is not required, as itself is a strict liability provision. When you take out a minor girl out of the guardianship of parents, you have committed the crime, whether you had intention or not.
Okay, continue.
And the facts prior to see, we also see that they used to meet and play games together. They have developed a close relationship. So this made an impression of the neighboring victims and very friendly. And so later the accused, with using the same, persuaded the victim to come out of the guardianship, and then this all caused him to be the liable under section 361. And this inducement we also see to be continued further. When they stayed in the Rainwoods Hotel, we also see that the appellant got him saris and blouses. So this way, the appellant tried to keep the victim happy and under his
So
control.
what is the criteria? What do we need to shop for in order to reveal guilt?
We need to see that whether
So if it
taking
was
and
not saris
enticing,
and blouses, if it was trousers and leggings, then what would have been the
you know, not
difference?
specifying about that, but this was the way of enticing. So he could
Okay.
have given anything. Like in Thakurlal, we saw that the victim, the accused gave him pens and skirts, and
Do you have to
this
say
was,
anything regarding the tenability of the revision application?
this is the remedy which they had appeal in sessions court, and after the appeal remedy has been taken out, the revision petition has been filed by the accused. And after seeing the judgments given by the lower court, the revision petition may be dismissed.
Okay. Anything else?
And also talking about statistics, we see more than 100,000 cases have come up in India about the kidnapping, and people have continued to take the advantage of this tender age of which the appellant stated to be, and same to kidnap and exploit them to perform the horrendous acts. Now, I would like to also continue with the Thakurlal judgment, in that it is mentioned that inducement may work immediately or create continuous but gradual impression after some time, which in this case it has. The marriage proposal was 4 months ago, but when the parents would show discontent about it, the victim got about that inducement, and then in that she called the accused to come, and taking the benefit of the same, the accused took her to the various places.
Okay.
And in
Would you
this
like,
case, we
Atreya, how much time does she have?
So she's completed 8 minutes and she has 5 minutes more remaining.
Okay, you have lots of time. Okay, come on. Go ahead with your contention.
yes, so the case before us, we cannot ignore the circumstances in which the appellant, the victim came close, the manner which he has said to have persuaded, the act of enticement, this act of taking away from guardianship, possibly ticks all the boxes of essential elements to continue to constitute offense under section 363. Now, as rightly said, a wrongdoer is to be punished and guilty is to be convicted. And hence, in Sadashiv Balchandra versus State of Maharashtra, completely brings the case within the passage of enticing and taking of the decisions cited. And hence, the appellant's conviction must be upheld.
Is that all?
Your Honor, may I proceed to the prayers if Your Honor is satisfied with my arguments?
Yes.
In the
You
light
have
of the
some time
issues
on
raised,
if there is anything else you would like to say.
yes, Your Honor, I'm just. Yes, and also referring to section 12A of the Child Prohibition Marriage Act, it says that a promise of marriage made to a minor girl for leaving the house of a lawful guardian shall be considered as enticement, which is in our case, fulfilling in our case.
Okay.
So now, taking the word persuasion, the persuasion by the accused, which creates a willingness on the part of a minor to be taken out of the keeping of the lawful guardian, would be sufficient to attract the section. It was mentioned in State of Haryana versus Rajaram, Compendium, page 19, the part 2. And also in Thakurlal, the accused gave her gifts, costly pens, and silver bands. And in this case, the accused was charged for kidnapping a minor girl from the lawful guardianship of her father. And it is established that the accused at an earlier stage solicited or induced the girl to leave the father's protection by conveying or indicating an encouraging suggestion that he would give her shelter. Now, holding this accused liable, the Supreme Court said that the mere circumstances of this case, which I already mentioned in my last arguments. Now, I would like to sum it up.
Yeah.
Now, proceeding to prayers, in the lights of the issues raised, arguments advanced, and authorities cited, the counsel for the respondent humbly prays before the Honorable Court to please to adjudge, to hold, and declare the decision of the lower court valid and hold Mr. Sadashiv accused under Section 363 of IPC, and hence pass any order that this Honorable Court may deem fit in the interest of equity, justice, good conscience, and for this act of kindness, the counsel of respondent shall be duty bound forever.
Thank you. I don't think it is required, Nudita.
Nurita, the vote of thanks is to be given by the event head, Harish.
Yes. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
I would like to give a humble gratitude to Dr. Krishna Shetty, sir, for gracing this occasion. Thank you so much, sir, for removing time from your schedule to judge our semi-finals for our first online moot court competition. We really hope it was a different experience for you too. We also would like to send a humble thank you to our principal in charge, Professor Vaishali Gurav, our faculty in charge of the Moot Court Society, Professor Pradni Sahu, the other members of the Moot Court Society, and to all the participants. Thank you so much.
We are also graced with the presence of our faculty, Josna Madam
Yes,
and
sir.
Neha Madam, Rajni Madam. Thank you so much for being here.
It's just
Can
a
I leave the
request.
call?
Yes, sir. Thank you so
I
much.
just request all the participants to switch on the camera because we have to click a photo. We want a group photo of the ground.
Thank you so
sir.
much, everyone. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.